So do you ever catch yourself wondering what you're going to make for supper when you get home from work? It's been a busy day, crazy. Well, if you've got one pan and 1 pound of ground beef, you can make this recipe because it's full of pantry staples. Hey y'all, I'm Sammy and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be sharing a delicious ground beef recipe you don't want to miss. So come on y'all, let's go. All right, y'all, let's make my creamy Italian beef and rotini. That's what I decided to name it. So into a large skillet, I've got 1 pound of lean ground beef, and I'm going to sprinkle over about 1 to 2 teaspoons of Badia Complete. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning goes in there as well. Now you feel free to add more if you want it. Then I'm going to add in about a half a cup of diced up onions. I use the Vidalia onion. Put that right on in there, and this was just some that I had left over that was in the fridge and I wanted to go ahead and use them on up. Then we're going to go ahead and just mash that all together and let those seasonings cook up into that beef until it is nice and brown and you no longer see any more pink. That can cause you a really bad stomach ache. Once that beef is browned, we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of that grease that's come out of it. If you have any, you want to make sure you get that out. So I just use the paper towels. I put them right on in there and sweep that around a little bit and get all that grease out of that ground beef. Now you can do it the old-fashioned way too. Just make sure you don't dump it down your drain because that'll cause you a big old headache down the road. Once that beef is drained, I go ahead and just give it a good stir. And then we're going to come on in with our next ingredients. So we're going to season that up with about a half a teaspoon of salt and about a teaspoon of black pepper. Now please feel free to adjust that as needed when you go to serve it up or before you serve it up. If it needs more seasoning, that's what you need to do, is just go ahead and add it on in. Now I like to stir mine together first before I add in everything else. So I got 1 jar of roasted red peppers. Then we're going to come in with some whole peeled tomatoes. Now, I would have liked to have had like the petite diced tomatoes, but this is all I had in my pantry, so that's what we're going to use. And it's perfect because the little meat chopper right here will just cut right through those roasted red peppers and those whole tomatoes, and it'll chop everything up just fine. Now we're going to add in about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. We're going to make up some beef broth. We need about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of beef broth. And I'm just using that Better Than bouillon, and I mix that about 1 teaspoon of that with 2 cups of water, and it makes the best broth. Unless you have some canned or in a box, please feel free to use that as well. Then you'll want to go ahead and stir that together just to make sure that minced garlic is well combined with those tomatoes and the peppers. And then we're going to add in 8 ounces of rotini pasta. Now you could use other pasta, but just make sure that you look at your cook time because it could vary. Once you have your pasta in there, go ahead and get that all stirred up. That makes sure you have enough liquid, and if you see it might need about a half a cup more, go ahead and do that because that's what I did right here. I wanted to make sure that I had the full 2 cups in there. So once you have your pasta and enough water in there, you go ahead and just make sure all that pasta is down in that water as good as it can be. Pop your lid on your pan, and then you're going to let that simmer for about 15 minutes or so. Like I said, make sure you look at your pasta time for the cook time, the pasta box for your cook time. I might get it out of here eventually, y'all. But that 15 minutes has elapsed, and we're going to go ahead and stir that all together just to make sure that none of that pasta was still hard, which it wasn't. It cooked up perfectly and got all those flavors from that beef broth and the peppers and the tomatoes, y'all. I could have ate it just like this. But now we're going to go ahead and add in some Parmesan cheese. So I got 5 ounces of Parmesan cheese going in. You could use cheddar cheese, or you could do a combination of both. And then I've got 1 cup of heavy cream going in there as well. It's usually about a half a cup to a cup, and I think mine was right at a cup. So go ahead and put that in there, and that's where the creaminess comes from, is that Parmesan and the heavy whipping cream. Just stir that until it is well combined, and then you'll pop your lid on it and let that sit there and let it thicken up. As you can see right here, it has gotten pretty thick. I just didn't film the part with the lid on it, but this was probably about after 10 minutes or so. But we're going to go ahead and get that ready to be plated up. I love ground beef one pan meals, y'all. If you do too, make sure you give me a thumbs up on this video. And let me know if you have a recipe you would like me to try. I love one pan suppers. So if you do too, leave me one down below. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become part of my YouTube family. I would absolutely love to have y'all. And I know you don't want to miss out on any other recipes like this that I might just come up with. This one was amazing, and it was definitely a winner ground beef dinner. The flavor was excellent in this. For it to just look in your pantry and come up with another meal, can you beat that? And like I said, typically everyone has these in their pantry. Give it a try, y'all. All right, y'all, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one pan pantry meal. It is so easy to make. I threw this together, very last minute. I just knew I had a pound of ground beef that I needed to use, and this is what I come up with. Recipe is going to be typed out below in the description box, and I hope you try it for your family. If you do, let me know by messaging me. You can email me. I would love to know your opinions on it. It was delicious. My family absolutely loved it, and I hope yours does too. But until next time, if you need prayers, please let me know in the description box. I would be honored to pray for you all. And make sure you check out these other 2 videos that are on your screen right now, because I'm sure you will find a recipe that your family will love. But until next time, from my heart to yours, God bless. Bye.